Today, I want to talk about the gift economy and a different way of operating and thinking about our career and the economic system that we're a part of that can support human well-being, that can support spiritual fulfillments and fulfillment on the deepest existential level possible. So what is the gift economy and how do we operate within it? And so I've been thinking about this in terms of the work that I'm doing recently. This podcast, the video that I'm putting out right now, I'm not making any money from this, but there's this shift, this mindset shift in that there's this focus on how do I create the thing that is most intrinsically valuable and most intrinsically motivating to me in this very moment, knowing that by doing that, there will be second order effects of doing that, which is value will come back in eventually. So the gift economy is an idea that was put forth first by Charles Eisenstein in his book, Ascent of Humanity. He speaks, and this is how he explains what the gift economy is. He says, in a gift economy, if you have more than you need, then you give it to someone that needs it. There's the security that you gain is through interdependence rather than independence. The number of people that you help create security rather than the amount of money in your bank account. He actually puts forth this idea of Demmurage, which is the more money you have, the more you lose. Another way of explaining this is negative interest. And so the core concept here is that people yearn to share their gifts. Everyone wants to share their gifts. Everyone wants to do what they love. That's what everyone's trying to do. If you ask anyone on the street, it's like, well, what do you want to do for a living? It's like, well, I want to do that where time stops, where it doesn't feel like drudgery or hell. I want to do the thing that makes me come alive, makes me forget about time, that I enjoy doing most. But the reason that we don't do these things is because we feel like we can't afford to do them. There's this mindset in our culture that I always need to be getting ahead in life. If I'm not getting ahead, then I'm falling behind. I've felt this a lot as I've been traveling here. I've been really feeling that, oh, if I'm doing all this work that's not bringing any money, that I'm getting behind. I could be gaining skills to make me money right now. I could be doing freelance work, but I've been resisting this urge to do that which just makes money in the short term, because I know that this will, by actually investing in doing the thing, the thing that I feel like is my deepest gift in the world, that this is going to have implications in the long term that are more valuable than whatever money I could be making in the short term. So the gift economy is one based on abundance rather than scarcity. There's abundance of resources. And so if you have extra, then you give it to someone else, knowing that it will be reciprocated back to you. I don't think the gift economy is one that we're operating in right now, but there's potential for this type of economy this is the vision for what an economy can become, for what a way of operating in economic terms in the world can become, that supports human well-being and supports the gifts, the true expression of every individual within the system. And so in order to understand the core implication of the gift economy, we have to dive even deeper into this feeling of separation, right? If I feel separate from the whole, if I feel separate from reality, then I'm not going to want to give gifts, because I feel that if I give someone a gift, then they'll just use it for their own selfish purposes, and then I'll be left with less. If I feel like I'm separate, I'm going to try to stockpile as much wealth as possible, because that is the way, from a state of separation, that is how you gain security, or that is, I guess, the illusion of security, how you think you'll gain security. But when we shift our core ontology into that of self and other are not separate, but that who I am isn't just an individual human body, but the relationship that I have with all the different systems that I'm a part of and all the different things in the world that I'm a part of. And if I give a gift to something in the world with this new and more expansive ontology, this supports a feeling that it will be reciprocated back to us. And so a couple of tangents that Eisenstein went on that I think are relevant here is that in our modern world, in our modern industrial economy, jobs are just like this artificial construct to support the industrial economic system. If the industrial economic system weren't there, then there would be no need for all of these bullshit jobs. A couple of writers in the New York Times that I read recently they saw this explosion of bullshit jobs. They described a bullshit job as one in which the person doing it and the person employing it both know that it doesn't serve a larger purpose for humanity, but it's just done in a bullshit way. What is a middle management position? A middle management, the reason you have these lower positions that pay really bad is you can't have middle management. You can't be a boss without being a boss of someone. So a lot of these companies, in order to be able to promote people to middle management, they will intentionally just create bullshit jobs so that people can be the boss of other people for no other apparent reason than to support the industrial economics system. So a quote that Eisenstein wrote is that to attach the basics of life, to attach the basics of survival to a job is to make a decent life itself artificially scarce in a modern economy. Work feels so meaningless and pointless in today's world because it is. Because when your work is devoted to maximizing artificial scarcity, if you're a marketer, what you're doing is you're creating this artificial scarcity in the world. You're perpetuating this economic system of scarcity. It will always feel hollow if on the deepest level you intuitively grasp and understand that you're maximizing and supporting this system that is decreasing the spiritual capital of human life. This is decreasing the experience of being alive on a deepest level, on the collective level. So if we're not doing something that helps the whole in a meaningful way, this is always going to be deeply unfulfilling. And so the gift economy, or just the concept of gift giving, of giving things, this audio clip right now is my gift to the world in one small way. So gift giving is fundamentally motivated by this desire for a more beautiful world. The essence of gift giving and of the gift economy is that it breaks down these boundaries between self and other, promotes the betterment of society, knowing that promoting the betterment of society is also promoting the betterment of self at its core. And so the essence of gift giving is that you can't hoard it. If you try to hoard gifts that people give you for your own egoic purposes, then this is destroying the essence of the gift economy. And so in order to, this economy, this way of relating to economics isn't currently present. But one way that we may start to approach the world this way is by asking, what can I give? What can I create? What would I truly enjoy creating and birthing in this world? And to do that, we must first escape from the endemic survival anxiety that plagues civilization. If we operate from this paradigm that money is scarce, that I need to spend all of my time working to make money, that money is not abundant, that if I'm not always trying to get ahead, that I'm going to somehow die, that I'm going to somehow end up on the streets with no money. This is a very different approach to a career, in a life, and the way that one spends one's time in the world, than to feel that money is abundant. So I'm just gonna, what would I love to give to the world? And then just doing that thing, knowing that it will come back to me in some way, shape, or form. So I'm not saying that this is the way the world works right now, but what I am saying is that perhaps if there's this fundamental paradox here. If we say that this is not the way that the world works right now, then we continue to operate in this old system of artificial scarcity and of the industrial economy. Then by doing that, we're actually perpetuating that system. So even though this is not how the world works right now, by acting as if that is how the world is the only way to actually put energy into to fuel the fire of this new gift economic system. I want to end off with a few thoughts from a guy named Stephen Pressfield. He wrote this book called The War of Art. And a couple of it, he talks about the creative process. He says there's this thing that every single artist feels called resistance. Everyone feels it. Even the person that's wrote hundreds of books, they feel the same amount of resistance, the same amount of suffering right before starting the creative process, that says, you're not good enough to do this. The resistance takes many forms. It says, you're not good enough to do this. You don't have anything valuable to share. Who are you to say this to the world, right? So there's all these different defense mechanisms that your ego makes in order to stop you from creating. And everyone faces this. So in order to create a gift economy, we have to recognize that everyone faces this resistance, to realize kind of what the core of the creative process is. And Pressfield says something along the lines of, when you try to hoard your creative gifts, you lose them. You must give them away, yet also make it easy for people to compensate you in return. Don't expect the other person to be the first one to make the transaction. Gift for free, but also make it easy and effortless for the other person to gift you back. Being of highest service to the world requires that we let the ultimate Godhead humble us and flow through us in our creative gifts, rather than letting the ego step in and take all the credit for the work that we're doing. So there's this reciprocal process of, I know that I'm valuable, and coming to our creativity from the energy of, I'm valuable, and I think I think you will get value from this, and you should pay me for this because of how valuable it's going to be. But yet my individual ego is not the one that is actually creating these gifts for the world. It's actually this bigger Godhead, this bigger core essence of being that is beyond all ego, that transcends all sense of self. The ego, which is not bad, the ego is not bad, but this ego is just a vehicle through which I'm letting the Godhead flow through me and create a process. That's what I'm doing right now in this video, and I hope to inspire you to do the same. Thank you for listening.